And good evening. So I got this rolling. It's Thursday night. Okay, let's do this. And there we are. Good evening, guys. So it's Thursday. Kind of chilling a little bit. What's up, MJ? Hold on a second here. Uh, just get a little background. Alright. So how are you guys doing? How's it going? So today, um, this is like in vaping news, so to speak. Frank from Alt Smoke, he went and talked to local representatives in the state of Ohio. So he went to Columbus, Ohio today, and he was speaking on, in regards to holding true our right to vape. So not a lot of people talk about it too much, um, but hold on, I'm actually gonna pull it up. Um, I don't think too many people. I don't think too many people talk about it, or it's not talked about enough. But um, let's see here. So anyway, this was posted today. They wanted to thank Tony from VTA, Alex Clark from CASA, Scott Ely from AMSA for coming in to testify at the Ways and Means Committee this morning in the state of Ohio. Okay. In addition, thanks to Jeff Kathman, Frank Hall, and Sarah Rutland Hall for also testifying this morning. I also want to thank Brian Keller and Jamie Mundy for coming and sitting in the proceedings. A call to action will be coming soon. So basically, when it comes down to it, is that we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about it nearly enough. But it's constantly happening around the country, state by state, municipality by municipality, and then obviously city to city, town to town. There are people who are getting the wrong information about what vaping is, how it's a viable replacement for tobacco usage in all forms, meaning chewing it, smoking it as a cigarette or a cigar or whatnot. I don't like. I mean, I admit I'm a person who doesn't talk about it enough. You know, um, and I'm actually a little bit ashamed. Hey, Mitch. Good evening. How are you, sir? So I'm a little ashamed. Um, I think maybe Brittany's away from keyboard. She'll be back. But hopefully she'll be doing all right. So anyway, another thing that's been coming around is like I want to give reference to this other podcast that's been going on. If you go to Spreaker.com, hold on, let me just pull up the link here. If you go over to this link here, I'm not saying you have to do it this second, obviously, but if you go over here eventually sometime this weekend, it's a pre-recorded podcast. It's basically the state of vape in the country of Canada. So our neighbors to the great north. Not only are we dealing with our right to vape here, but they're also dealing with it in their own way up there. I mean, because it's basically a bombardment worldwide. Okay, it's a bombardment worldwide, and slowly, the vaping industry and vaping advocates are chipping away at it. They really are chipping away at trying so hard to get this going. Because let's face it. I'm sorry, I got allergies today, but I took medicine, so I was hoping I'd be better by now. But let's face it, okay? The reality is we are not gonna bow down to ignorant people's demands for us to continue our right to vape. I know we all agree on that. You know, I know you. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. So also, yesterday, let me go ahead and pull up this link here. I don't know if you guys got a glance at this. Alright. But this is the letter that explains that at least they're trying to explain to the legislative branch of our national government, specifically the Congress, what exactly is the FDA Deeming Authority Clarification Act of 2017, HR 1136. Now, for those of you who haven't been keeping track, I'll explain to you. HR 1136 was originally known as the Cole-Bishop Amendment. And essentially, okay, just pulling all the barriers down to what it is when the FDA announced their demon regulations in August 8th, 2016. They put down that any industry professional who started their business after February 2007 will literally have to jump through hoops and pay an exorbitant amount of money in order to be cleared to sell their vaping related products, may it be hardware, accessories, consumables in the United States. Okay. How ridiculous is that? So basically, for each SKU that you sell out of your company, let's say you have like 2 lines of e-liquids, and each line of e-liquids is 6 flavors each. So that's 12. For each SKU, each item, and each nic level, you have to pay about $1 million for each item to be quote unquote thoroughly tested through people that work through organizations and companies working through the FDA in order to quote unquote clear it to be sold in the United States. Hey Legend, what's up? How you doing? It's gonna put, that's why people were saying that if the demon regulations go in without any modification whatsoever in terms of the predicate date, because right now the predicate date is February 2007. Any businesses that opened up after that, you're SOL at this point. However, if HR 1136, aka the Cole Bishop Amendment, does pass, if that amendment does pass, then it'll move the predicate date up from February 2007 to August 8th, 2016, the day they announced the demon regulations. Now, if they do that, any company at that point that's already, anybody that's in the industry right now, their jobs are going to be saved, the company will be saved, they won't have to go belly up, because if this does not pass, then you're talking about 99.9% of companies in the vaping industry are going to belly up. There's no way they're going to be able to afford to get all their products tested. No freaking way. It's going to turn this country, you know, and I know people are constantly talking about, well, if the vaping industry goes black market, fine, I'll go underground. I mean, Vaping Underground, this is our channel, right? There's a forum that's called Vaping Underground forum. We'll still get our consumables on, you know, in the underground. But yeah, but think about the following things that will happen if this industry goes underground. And I don't think people have realized, I don't think people have really thought about it. So let me just lay it out for you guys, okay? One, just like anything else that's being sold in the quote-unquote Silk Road, you know, in the underground, in the deep web, right? The price goes up. So if you bought a pack of coils for, let's say, $10-15 for a pack of 5 coils for, a disposable coiled tank, because it's not legally allowed to be sold in the United States anymore. If these regulations go into effect in 2018 without the FDA Demon Authority Clarification Act of 2017 passing, HR 1136, you're talking that pack of coils that was like $10, $10 to $15, is now going to cost you $30 to $50. Basically $10 a coil. It'll make people start working for their coils again, meaning that everybody's going to start building their coils again. But then anything new that comes out, it's going to be an exorbitant amount for it to be sold in the United States, because it's going to be sold in the underground. All right? Consumables, forget it. In 2007, let me see. 2007 was actually a year of transition for me. I took the plunge. I had left one career path in midway through that year. I made a conscious decision around May of 2007. I was working in a specific career path, and I decided I didn't want to. I didn't see my life going in that direction, staying in that direction. So I left one industry, went back into school for a year to brush up on some of my networking, and to like learn new networking skills in computer networking skills, and learning things like Cisco, learning how to use Access, Exchange, that kind of stuff. And I switched careers. So that 2007 was a real transitional year for me. It was also a very scary year for me, because I was starting all over again in my mid-30s. So I'm reading what Mitch is writing here. Yeah, man. So, Mitch, that's just in the state of New Jersey. That's just in the state. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know, what people don't realize is that New Jersey was the first state in the United States to put in an original ban on vaping. Now, sorry, my allergies. Excuse me. Sorry. Um, what people don't realize, yeah, is that even though Jersey doesn't enforce it as well as other states that or other municipal areas that it do have similar type ordinances or whatnot, they don't value. It's mostly people who look at it in this way. Let's say you're a government official, okay? You are a government official, and you have decided to work with big tobacco, right? Like, okay, I'll allow you to sell your products in my state, but I want a kickback. Now, the state wants a kickback, and that kickback is in the form of getting of paying us a certain amount based on the current trend of sales in our state. That money gets put back into the state economy to pay for things like making like this Department of Education gets a cut of it, so they can improve some of their public school facilities, so that they don't have to eradicate the music department in a school because a certain district doesn't have enough money in their budget to afford to pay those teachers and pay for equipment and space or whatnot to have that, or putting it back in terms of like programs to tell people stop smoking, even though they know it's never going to happen because nicotine's such an addictive drug, right? Let's face it, we're addicts here. For those of us that vape with Nick, we're addicts. Plain and simple. But, it's not like it's a horrible, horrible thing. The alternative to vaping is a lot worse for us, and we all know that, right? So, let's say they made this deal. Let's say we're using New Jersey as an example. Let's say the state of New Jersey made this deal with big tobacco. So they're gonna give them a certain amount of money every year. So expecting, they budget they plan ahead of time. They're like, okay, we're gonna get this much money this year. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spend that money ahead of time. So by the time big tobacco does their kickback in our state and hands us the funds based off their profit margins, based off their overall sales, because a portion of the profit would be in the form of those kickback deals. Then we'll just put that back into our state bank accounts and we'll be square. The problem is what the vaping industry has done to those quote-unquote kickbacks by big tobacco just in the past 5 years. So let's say it's 2014. They budgeted a certain amount of money to spend on different various programs in their state. Let's say they don't get the kickback until November, but they have to have their budget in by the end of January so they could start allocating the different divisions, different departments within the state. And let's say that number is $10 billion, right? I'm just throwing that out there. Let's say it's 10 billion. Or let's say it's 100 million. 100 million. We'll say 100 million. They spend that 100 million, and then when it's time for their kickback, thinking that whatever they sold in the cigarette and cigar sales in 2013 is going to relate in 2014. Let's say that gets cut by 25%. Let's say it just gets cut by 10% because of the vaping industry. So they were supposed, let's say they were supposed to get 100 million. Now they're getting 90 million. Now they're 10 million in the, now they're 10 million in the hole. Now compound that the year later, 2015, and it drops to they lost 20 million. Now they're 30 million in the hole within a 2-year period. And that's just a lowball estimate of what states have been doing. I think there are 37 states. I believe there's 37 states that currently have this type of kickback deal with the big tobacco companies. You know what, Mitch? Well, here's the thing. You know, not mentioning it by name, but that other industry has been fighting for their right literally since the 80s. You know, stick around for a while, Yardbird. Just come and chill with us, and let's talk about stuff to get us off our mind, off our personal lives. You know, this is almost like a respite from our real lives. But I've got love for you, Yardbird. We talked about you 2 weeks ago. I wasn't here last week. I wasn't well. I had like had a bug that lasted like 2.5 days. Is it 46? Thank you for clarifying that. It's 46 according to Vicky. I thought it was 37, but I'm going to take her word for it since she's in the industry. Now, when it comes to that other industry, okay, they have been advocating since the 1980s. It may even, yeah. There was the peace movement between the late 60s to mid 70s. And then they really started trying to advocate for that for they really started advocating for that since I think it was 1983. I mean, I'm not saying that factually. I'm just thinking about it. It may be. I think it may have the real advocacy movement started in '83 because the influx of people getting thrown in jail for. I mean, we're talking low-ball crimes here. People were being thrown in jail for 6 months for having an ounce of the other stuff on them, 1 ounce, which a lot of people today are allowed to carry legally in those legal states. I think, how many legal states are there now? 8? I think it's 8. Let me think about this. Florida just went medical. That doesn't count. So you got Alaska, Washington, Oregon, Washington, D.C. Not like it's a state, but it's a district. Colorado. That's 5. I forgot what the other 3 are right now, but I believe it's 8 right now. Plus, there's a lot of states that are medical, like Michigan, Jersey, Florida just went medical. New York is trying to go full medical. They're partial medical right now. I think Vermont's one of the other states. But anyway, needless to say, that is a movement that's been going on for literally over 30 years to get them to this point. Advocacy for vaping is just in its infancy. It's literally in its infancy right now. I think they are for CBD, not for anything. Not anything psychoactive, Piggy. That's why you see like a couple of vendors, big vendors in Georgia right now, freely selling CBD through their vaping LLC. Now, I'm not saying that Higgy does this, but let's be real here, okay? Roughly 25%, that's a low estimate. 25% of Vaping LLCs right now in the industry have a separate LLC to participate in the other industry. 25%. That's I know that almost for an absolute fact. Okay? And surprisingly, I know a few of them that started their LLCs back in 2013. It was smart business. They don't have to talk about their other LLC, but there's people that prepared way ahead of time in the event the worst case scenario happened in the vape industry in the short term. You know, like the Volstead Act of 1918. God forbid they have the quote-unquote Vaping Volstead Act of 2018. You don't want that. You don't want that. You know, just speaking on a personal note, everybody send your love to Yardbird. You know why. Everybody give Yardbird love. And obviously give Higgy continued love as she recovers completely from her recent surgery. Her unexpected surgery. I know for a fact that even if it's laparoscopic, it still takes 4 to 6 weeks to feel 100% again. So much love to you, Higgy, and continue. I hope that you get to 100% as soon as possible. But in all honesty, guys, you know, it's true that a lot of government officials don't really value what the vaping industry or, you know, does in this country. There are a lot of people who literally don't understand it. They look at what we're doing. Think about what we're doing. For a person who absolutely... Yeah, I know, Higgy, but I know people in my personal life that have had surgery, and just to make sure that everything internally gets healed properly, they're out of commission for at least a month, meaning that they're walking softly, they're not engaging in heavy exercise and stuff. We're talking about you need to let your internal let the surgical area heal properly, you know. So, well, Mitch, like I said, the last thing we want is for prohibition to come back in the United States. Look what happened. Hey, how you doing, Jill? I love that lady. She's awesome. How are you? Canadian Vapers talk about Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web was a godsend when it first came out. A godsend for people who had children who were dealing with epilepsy. It was a godsend. So, you know, I feel at this point, you know, like I was saying towards the beginning of the show, if this country decides to put prohibition in the vaping industry, like they did alcohol in the earliest 20th century. Remember speakeasies? You heard the term speakeasies? They said in the heyday of prohibition, in a typical city, I think the example I saw a YouTube video on it. They said in Chicago alone, in a typical square, square block, a typical square block of Chicago during the Prohibition years, there was an average of 18 speakeasies. 18 speakeasies in one square block of downtown Chicago. Okay. Now imagine that multiplied throughout the country. at that time. But you also have to understand something. In order to have affordable, quote unquote, you know, bootleg alcohol at that time, you know, they did a lot of underground shipments from Canada. Literally, they would drive their cars up to Canada, meet right outside the border, and pay them an exorbitant amount of money to get their alcohol, and then they'd bring it back down from Canada to where they were and selling it that way. So New York made out, Chicago made out, and then through those pipelines, because those major cities were near the Canadian government, it spread throughout the United States. Now, MJ, that is true in a sense, but then what do they have? What can they do? I mean, it's their job. They need to eat too. They may not necessarily like it, because I know people these days. I mean, there's a lot of states that have decriminalized it. Okay, basically at this point, with possession under an ounce of the other stuff, they give you a small fine and they give you a little slap on the wrist, right? Unfortunately, that's not the way it is here in Texas. Oh no, you get busted with anything over an ounce or above, and you're going to jail. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I hate talking about that in a vaping show because they are two separate industries. Okay? They are two separate industries. And they have channels on YouTube for people who talk about that type of advocacy of the yin yang. And it's been going on for a long, long time. Okay? Long, long time. In the 90s, the AOL era, okay, and even prior to the AOL era, they had, you know, they had these local forums, like forums that you see today, but they were based locally. BBCs. You would dial into these BBCs and post, post on these pages when the web was pretty brand new, and people to discuss it, and that's how those days prior to it was the early days of networking online, but it's expanded since then. And like literally, if you wanted to get involved in that industry in any way, shape, or form, for personal use or for distribution, there are literally guides out there that tell you step by step how to do certain things. Okay. I know somebody personally, not in the United States, somebody outside the United States, that's been operating a quote-unquote homegrown business for the past, I believe, since 2006. Since 2006, a homegrown business since 2006. And everything he learned, he learned it through forum posts, private videos, that weren't necessarily being uploaded. We're talking about, I mean, they would still be able to burn it on DVD, but I'm sure people were saying, well, I'll send you a videotape or whatever. But people were learning how to go into business for themselves, regardless of authority. We don't want the vaping industry to go that route, because the way that the public that still doesn't truly understand the significance of vaping as a tobacco replacement option will persecute it to the ends of the earth. It is literally one of the scariest things that has happened to this industry since it started. I mean, our quote unquote heyday of vaping community, vaping closeness, whatnot, going to all these vaping events. It literally was they punched a huge hole into it last year. How many events this year? How many original events this year are gonna happen? Now, what I mean by original events, the original events were Vape Fest, Vape Bash, VaporCon, Vape Expo. All these happened between 2010 and 2012. And a lot of them are literally poof, gone with the wind. All you have left are these, like, quote unquote, we're talking about promoters with a lot of money who probably don't have that much, who probably aren't even industry insiders in the vaping community, in the vaping industry. They're basically coming in from other industries, investing a ton of money in this thing. Hey, I can make a pretty penny while we still can. And they put out these huge events that are like conventions. They aren't like national vape meets anymore. Well, you know what, Miss Deli? I talked to Lou a couple months ago. Lou, for those who don't know Lou, Lou's like the owner and proprietor of VapeTVLive.com, and he was essentially the person that started VaporCon in 2011. But they had their quote-unquote last VaporCon this past October. And it's going to be the last, they say it's going to be the last one for a while. Maybe forever, which is sad. However, when I talked to him a few months ago, he said that if for any reason it turns around and after he builds up again, who knows? There could be a VaporCon 2.0 happening, and then who knows, the next. It's not going to happen anytime soon. He predicts that the quote-unquote influx of what's happening in the vaping industry is going to change. The landscape will change. He predicts the landscape is going to change within the next 5 years. That we're going to be dealing with bumps in the road. We're going to be dealing with bumps in the road for right now. But come come let's see, was it 2018? Come 2018, we're really gonna know by then. So next 18 months. Well, you know what, MJ? People these days, millennials, they'll never understand what the term shake is. They'll never understand what the term shake is. Now, shake in New York was a term that we used to describe a certain Mexican product. It was cheap. It was plentiful. The potency was low, but it worked. People these days, no way. Comparing like the late 80s, early 90s quality to today, it's like the potency is like, what, 10 times the potency today as it is? Now let me explain this to you. Okay. Oh, see, Hunter knows, MJ knows. I mean, listen. Listen to me, guys. It really comes down to this, okay? We, people in the vaping industry, the quote-unquote, I hate using this term, the quote-unquote electronic cigarette industry, but that's how it's popularly known as to people who aren't in the know. Uh, these are they are looking at the other industry and the leeway that they're getting now. But that's only because, like I said, they've been chugging along and chipping away at it for over 30 years. For over 30 years. It's not the case. It's not the case with the vaping industry. Vaping industry is very, very new compared to that. So it's going to take a long time to make it widely known. It's not going to take as long because, thankfully, with all the technology we have to keep in touch with each other, that's not necessarily gonna. Honestly, I think it's gonna take 1/3 at a time. I think within the next 10 years, people are gonna realize the benefits of this form of tobacco replacement. People are gonna understand it. Devices will get better. Devices will be quote unquote safer. So, but you have to understand that. You have to break it down, okay? There's stories happening all the time of people putting these in their pocket. May it be a mechanical mod or a regulated mod. And them not doing a simple thing like turning off their device. Or just taking out their battery and putting it into a safe container, like the plastic containers that we use for 18650s or whatnot, right? So the word has to get out about battery safety. But on the flip side, the battery industry right now is working on this new technology. Hold on. Let me just try to get it up. I mean, I read this. The future of battery technology. Okay. Because this industry, the industry that we are a part of, that utilizes these devices and whatnot, relies on battery technology. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be all 100%. Roughly like 99%, right? So there's one form of battery technology that they're working on right now, okay? They're working on ways of making charging your batteries more applicable. Like, I'm sure you read about they have this device, it went up on some invention site. I forgot the name of it right now, where you could buy into it. And basically, you attach it to your person. And based on your movements during the day, it works much like solar energy, but instead it works on it works on kinetic energy. It charges through kinetic energy. Okay. I believe it's called Real Move. I don't know if you guys heard it. So these are going to be, they said this is going to be a range of IMR, lithium-ion IMR batteries, okay? And they said they're going to be fitted with this thing called the Real Move Kinetic Dynamo. Let's see. They call it a drip charge system that effectively increases the available charge by 75% to the equivalent of 4,400 mAh. Now, how does it work? Let me give you the link. I think this there's just one vaping site that talks about it. All right, that's just one form. So basically, these batteries are going to be fitted So let's say you have your mod and your person. Hey, James. You know what? You know what, CV? That is one of the most brilliant things I've heard today. That is brilliant. It'll decrease shorts by like shit 75%, 80%. But they put this. But what they're doing right now is like if you see this technology, it looks like it's 4 millimeters. It looks like it's held inside a rubberized. It's wrapped in rubber. Imagine that top piece while you're moving during the day, just walking and whatnot. Through movement, it's charging your battery in your mod. It's pretty sick. That's just one idea. So as technology improves, especially for battery technology and safer battery chemistry that they've been working on, I've read. I don't know if I can get it right now. They talk about the worst of battery safety, like those re-wrapped batteries, meaning like you get like your freaking trust fire batteries that aren't using lithium-ion chemistry in it. They put a wrap on it for a popular brand of battery that you're comfortable with and sell it like that. You know. That much is true also. Which is why I personally don't like to get high mAh. I don't like to get high mAh batteries. That's not me. No. I personally like to get batteries in the range of 1800 to 2200 mAh, 18650s. I don't like to get anything above that. I had in the past purchased just to test out higher mAh, high amperage batteries, and for some reason I felt a little uncomfortable using it. You know. You know, speaking of 26650, oh, you're talking about 2600, 2700. Mm-hmm. Well, here's what I think, okay? 18650s is like the norm now. Most mods use that size, you know, and there's some mods that use 26650. But you can't use the old school M and KE batteries of old because, you know, I had, like, for example, I have four MNKE batteries that I've never really used ever, but I've had them for over 2 years. I put them on my Nebula mod. Where is it? Where the heck did I put my Nebula mod? Give me a second. Let me see where I put it. Because I have I got in the mail a 26650 mod recently. Where the heck did I put it? Uh-oh. Is it here in my bed? Oh, there it is. Okay. One second here. I had some of my mods that I carried with me, and sometimes I have them set near my bed, so if I wake up in the middle of the night, I can take a vape. Right? No. I know people are like, Rich, you have to vape that much? I'm sorry, guys, but truth be told, I have at least one PV near me at all times, within arm's reach. Like literally, it could be the dark. It could be the dark, and I'll wake up and know primarily which direction to reach out my hand. So, here's an example, okay? Here is a Vaporesso Nebula 26650 mod. Unfortunately, my MMKs that I thought would still be used perfectly fine, would be perfectly fine. I'm not getting enough voltage out of it. So every time when I was putting them in here, I would push the button after setting the load on it, and it would tell me that the battery voltage that was coming out of it was too low. I was only getting 2.2 volts out of it when I was pushing the button, even when it was fully charged. So basically, I'm chucking those batteries, and I ordered another pair, a brand new pair. So I'm getting some. I bought some Imran. I bought a pair of Imran 26650s. So right now, I'm using an LG 18650 with the adapter, the 26650 to 18650 adapter that Vaporesso gave with this mod. So I'm not getting the extra mAh rating off it. They see, I'm comfortable with having higher mAh batteries if the battery itself is larger. Yeah, you're right, Hunter. It's all about the amps. So I got these Imrans. They're supposedly they're 60 amp batteries. I don't care. I mean, all I cared about was that I read reviews on which 26650s right now in the market are considered good. Imran was up there, so that's why I felt comfortable buying 2 of those. I think I also picked up one Mojo. Was it Mojo or MOXO? I picked up just one of those to see, and I think the rating on that battery was 40 amps. You know, hey Brittany, hey Brittany. Mm-hmm. Oh, and here's the thing. You know, I still like to use my Max for dripping, but I am very safe with it. Meaning that if I'm not using my Mac, like right, for example, I got my trusty Sentinel version 1 here, and I have it with a Quasar. I have it set with a Quasar. Okay. Um, if I'm not using it, there's no battery in it ever. Like literally, the only time the battery's in there is when I'm actively using it. You know. Otherwise, forget it. Right. I mean, I'm comfortable with a 20 amp battery. I'm comfortable with 20 amps. Because, like, for example, right now on this Nebula, I'm vaping this at 50 watts, okay? It has on here a a 0.25 ohm coil that it came with. Ceramic coil. It uses, and this is the Vico tank by Vaporesso. It uses the EUC coils. And I'm vaping on little bits of strawberry. Oh yeah, guys, I forgot to tell you. I was supposed to have on Uncle Mike's tonight for Uncle Mike's e-liquid on tonight, but him and I discussed it today, and we feel better if he goes on Tuesday. He wants to be on the show as close to Vape Showcase as possible. And I couldn't give him next Thursday night because next Thursday I was gonna have Jimmy from Infamous in here. So I'm gonna have I'm gonna bring in Mike in for like a half an hour on Tuesday, and then on Thursday I'm gonna bring in Jimmy. So we already discussed a possible giveaway for that day. So if you come in, I think I'm gonna start my show a little early. I think to make it 2 hours, depending on if Chunk is able to do a show or not. If he doesn't do a show, I'll start at 5:30, 5:30 Eastern. If not, you want me to do the Gemini again? I have it right here. As you can see, my Gemini is covered in napkins because I don't freaking trust it at all. The night of the failure of the Gemini tank, the Vaporesso Gemini tank. I really hate this tank, man. I really hate it. But yeah, for crispers, let me go ahead and I'll take out my Vico tank. Hold on. Take out my Vico. Put in. Okay. Let's put in my. I'm like afraid to put this in, man. I don't know how much juice it's gonna get. I can't even tell you how many of my polos now have like e-liquid stains on them. You know, a person's a vapor when you got the little freaking e-liquid stains on them that people haven't taken away yet. So here's my Gemini. As you can see, it's completely closed off. It's not. The tank's not. The tank holes aren't open. So there's actually e-liquid still in there. And notice how I have it completely sealed because I'm paranoid. I was paranoid it was gonna drip on me. But hold on. Let me adjust it. Okay, got the air holes open now. Oh man, I'm afraid. Okay, I have 2 Clapton coils in here, and it comes out to. Well, oh, here the drips already start. Look at that, it's already dripping. A little bit. Fuck this freaking tank, man. Vaporessa does not know how to make an RTA. That's all I'm saying. They are e-liquid stains, Hunter. Okay, so look how much it's dripping already. It's like all over my fingers. It's a freaking mess, man. It's a joke. It's already leaking. I hate this tank because I can't properly get it going. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna open the bitch up. Let's get some air in there. Close it up. Unbelievable. This freaking tank. I feel bad for you again because freaking I had to listen to Crispers and like attempt to use this again, and it's all over me again. Damn it! And I hate wasting good e-liquid because I put some Good Life Vapor Deadly Sin. Like, how much of this ball have I actually vaped? Not much. Not much. Alright. Okay. God. The amount of... Yikes. Alright. Let's try this again. I don't know. We'll see. I'm like afraid. It's gonna rip. I'm just waving it like this. Seeing how much e-liquid's leaking out of it. And that's with the bottom of it, the tank closed off. I'm not even getting enough freaking power out of this, so I'm going to crank it up a little bit. Put it up to 45 watts. I want to give it a chance. I want to keep giving this a chance, thinking that it's going to change 2 days later. I know, right? It's just... It is e-liquid stains. No, a second. Works good when it's drip nice. Okay, so I gave it a try. Don't like it. I'm probably never going to use it again. I might give it away to somebody who might be able to get some use out of it. Who knows? I'll just take out the cod and keep the coils in, because the coils, which at the time were I thought were going to be my biggest problem, wasn't much of a problem at all. I got those coils in there, snipped good, and cotton in there in less than 10 minutes. And that was taking my time. Hold on. Now I got to wash my hands. Hold on. Alright. Let me throw these out. Get this going in here. Unreal, man. Unfreaking real. Alright. Reliable. Doesn't leak. Gemini leaks. Like a freaking faucet. This? Okay. No, that's the whole thing. I'm not having problems with any... When I... Like my cave ones, for example, I know how to properly fill it so that, you know, it's just not going to be, dripping on me like that. But for some reason, I was treating this like a cave fund, thinking it was just going to work that way. And no, it's not. Just leaks like a bitch. So I got to just do some more reading on it, see how I could properly... Thanks, Mitch. I have to properly make sure that I'm good. You know what? Here's the thing. Like Mitch, MJ, the rest of you guys, I'm gonna try to make that tank work because I'm stubborn. I know when we do, I'm gonna like read on it and try to get that damn tank to work right. Cause I'm stubborn as hell. Wait a second, you have the iJoy? Let me look this up. What is the iJoy Nano? Hold on a second, let me see what it is. I purposely don't have it. Is it a good tank? Alright, so I'm looking at in Vapor DNA. I'm sure I can get it cheaper than this, but if I look. But this is a $30 tank, it says. The iJoy Tornado Nano, RTA, and chip coil. Okay, so basically, what is this?